the big story of the day, and this is coming in from West Asia. We're learning that the U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, has said that American forces have launched a third round of strikes on Iran just few hours back. In fact, this week, after the IRGC attacked a cargo ship there in the Strait of Hormuz, the attack has left one civilian crew member missing, and the vessel has been damaged as well. In fact, CENTCOM has said that strikes are aimed at degrading Iran's ability to target the commercial shipping in the region. So that is the latest we are learning as far as CENTCOM is concerned. And another round of strikes that is now started in Iran. U.S. Central Command has said that it has started a third round of strikes on Iran after accusing Iran of blatantly attacking a container ship there in the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, in a social media post, CENTCOM has said, and I quote, Iran was provided yet another opportunity to show adherence to the MOU that was signed between the two countries earlier this month after being held accountable for earlier attacks on the commercial vessels. But they have again failed, is what we are learning so far. And with that, we have another breaking update coming in as far as U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is concerned. He has taken to social media to say that Iran has made a very poor choice. Now they pay. And this was in response to a social media post by U.S. Central Command, in which they had mentioned, as we told you, that the third round of strikes on Iran has started. Now, replying to that, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has posted on social media that Iran has made a very poor choice. In fact, in the latest, we are also learning, and this is what Iranian media is reporting, that there explosions have been heard in southern part of Iran once again, something that we have been witnessing in the last few days as well. And also, we are learning that IRGC has said that the Strait of Hormuz is closed until further notice. So in the recent days, we have seen repeated reports of waterway being reopened, partially reopened, and then closed again. So a lot happening as far as West Asia there is concerned. Akanksha is joining us live on the broadcast with more details. Tell us what is happening at this point in time. In the latest, we are learning that U.S. Central Command has said that they've started the third round of strikes on Iran. Explosions just few minutes back were heard in southern part of the country as well. Give us more updates.
Right. So CENTCOM is also accusing the IRGC of blatantly attacking MV GFS Galaxy, which is a Cyprus-flagged container ship transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And a civilian crew member has been missing, and the vessel has been unable to continue the journey due to an onboard fire and significant engineering damage. This now could, remember, Akanksha, also impact the overall situation. Iran was provided yet another opportunity to demonstrate adherence to the MOU after being accountable for earlier attacks on commercial vessels, but has again failed. That's what the statement of CENTCOM is going on to indicate. They also go on to say that the U.S. is going to be imposing a heavy cost by continuing to degrade Iran's ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the strait. The strikes are being carried out at the direction of the commander-in-chief, which, of course, is the U.S. president. And Pete Hegseth, as we all know, has been fronting the decision-making as far as all of the U.S. military strategy is concerned. But as we've seen, these have been repeated strikes now on Iran, and they are looking towards targeting the missile sites in Iran only to degrade their own military capacity. But Iran, of course, digging in its heels, they've refused to open the Strait of Hormuz. Much is now hinging on this. Global shipping is again coming to a screeching halt, because the IRGC will not let any vessel pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and if it has to happen, then it will be happening on their own terms and conditions, as has been the case with peace negotiations also. For the longest time, the U.S. president has been maintaining that the Iranians have been begging to come to the talking table and come up with a deal. Something that in the last 2 days we've seen in terms of rhetoric, the Iranians have completely shunned. And the Iranian leadership, in fact, whether it is the parliamentary speaker Mohammad Ghalibaf or, say, the Iranian foreign minister Abbas Araghchi, they all have been extremely vocal about how the U.S. president is not going to be deciding the terms and conditions of this peace deal, and that it will be the Iranians. So by choking the Strait of Hormuz and attacking all of these vessels that are trying to transit, and this one in the latest that has come in the line of fire is a Cyprus flagged one. So, Akanksha, the terms and conditions have been clearly laid, and the action that is being taken by IRGC is also to remind the world that they will continue to operate and control the Strait of Hormuz. It's a reminder to the United States particularly that if their autonomy over the Strait of Hormuz is not respected, the situation could very much get worse.
Absolutely. And in fact, US has said that Iran has broken the terms of the deal once again, and also saying that Iran made a very poor choice. Now they will have to pay. So, stay on with us, Akanksha. I'll come back to you once again. We have another breaking update coming in. Iran has reportedly told the United States that the recent attacks on commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz were a mistake and has signaled to the willingness to continue as far as the negotiations are concerned. According to a news report, US has decided to press ahead with the talks in Oman, even as it seeks a public acknowledgement from Tehran over the attacks and diplomatic efforts at this point in time. We're learning they are also underway. Akanksha, coming back to you on this, Iran is sending a twofold message on the Strait of Hormuz as well. Diplomacy and escalation are both possible. Give us more details.
Right. So Iranian officials have, in fact, is what we are being told through media reports, that they've privately informed the U.S. president and his advisors, rather, that recent attacks on commercial vessels were an error. And according to CBS News, these attacks have stemmed from a specific faction within Iran looking to undermine the negotiations between the United States and Iran. So, look, again, over here, if we go by what the CBS News report is claiming, there is a fracture between what's being projected on social media platforms, particularly like X, where Donald Trump is being dismissed as being a blatant liar and a bully, using brute force to, in fact, impose his own thoughts and, military might on free nations and countries. That's the view that the Iranians have been upholding. But here, what media reports have been indicating, if the Iranians are communicating that there is a faction within Iran which is, undermining the negotiations, and it is not the entire Iranian leadership, then that goes on to indicate that there's something else that's happening behind the doors. Or is this also controlling the media narrative in the United States? One really cannot say. But President Trump, according to media reports, has directed the U.S. Negotiating team, which, as we all know, has been represented by the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, and the special Middle Eastern envoy, that is Steve Witkoff, to proceed with the ongoing talks in Muscat, which, as we all know, have already begun on Saturday. So, yes, there are parallel negotiations which are going to be on, but how much can they achieve till the war is going to be on? Because the U.S. President has also stated that Washington will continue with the talks while also attacking Iran. So, if they consider the ceasefire over, that is something that we are already made aware of. But as far as the Iranians are concerned, the Iranian Foreign Minister Rakshi has already stated that their diplomats are also in talks. But it's strange that whether it is the Foreign Minister holding talks with his Omani counterparts, what good is this going to lead
All
to?
right.
There are involved. The Qatari negotiators have also traveled to Iran in an effort to ease these tensions. Because remember, all of these countries stand in the line of fire. They are continuing to bear the brunt of this. But what will they be able to achieve since the MOU has been completely destroyed?
Absolutely. And this comes as the situation around the Strait of Hormuz remains extremely fragile at this point in time. And in the recent days, we have seen repeated reports of the waterway being reopened, partially reopened, and then closed again. We have two sets of breaking update coming in. Akanksha, I'll come back to you once again. We are learning about fresh tensions that have now emerged in that key waterway, that is the Strait of Hormuz, after a U.S. official claimed that Iran's IRGC fired a missile at a commercial cargo ship there, damaging the vessel. Iran, however, has claimed that its navy only fired warning shots after the ship switched off the transponder and attempted to use an illegal route. The conflicting accounts have further heightened the tensions in that crucial waterway. In fact, another breaking update, as we told you at this point in time, that we're learning about several explosions reported in southern Iran. Akanksha, do give us more details about the explosions that are being heard in southern part of Iran, something that we've been witnessing in the last few days.
So, there's a specific reason why the United States is actually looking towards striking the southern part of Iran. It is what is adjoining the Strait of Hormuz. In the last few days, we have already seen how there is now a nuclear leakage threat at the Bushehr nuclear power plant, and even though the IAEA has ruled out any current threat of any leakage at the nuclear facility in Bushehr, but they are closely monitoring the situation. U.S., of course, also has denied some strikes. So over there, this is also one aspect. There are certain strikes which are taking place for which U.S. has also not been, owning up. And as far as southern Iran is concerned, whether it is Bandar Abbas, whether it is Keshem, Sirik, all of these islands have actually borne the brunt of U.S. strikes in the last few days. The idea is to, in fact, impact all the ships that have been docking around this area, because as we all know, it's adjoining to the Strait of Hormuz. The situation is extremely fluid and fragile in that case, even more so with U.S. not really, taking a step back as far as Iran is concerned. If we were to also talk about how far and how long this is going to be, the IRGC has already declared that they will not be opening the Strait of Hormuz till any deal is done where the Strait of Hormuz is completely given, the IRGC is completely given control of. But I can tell you that according to media reports, several explosions were reported in Bandar Abbas, Chabahar, even Sirik and Escalates.
All right, so it remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming hours. Thank you so much, Akanksha Swaroop, for getting us all those details and putting that into perspective. With this, a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.